Excuse
a
me,
strange
as a
one.
father of multiple children, you never woke up to help feed the baby?
Yeah, I wish that was me.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this was kind of
Never.
a strange one. I mean, she said, I've never been to the Northern Lights, and then he just pulled out like a card that
I don't
was
help
like,
my wife with children.
yeah, kind of really.
Never have I ever helped out with the children. Welcome to our podcast, A Fine Podcast, with your host, Amanda, and
Joseph,
woo, we're back.
well, you're back in black. I am back in blue
Wow.
or aquamarine.
Almost like a version of green.
Yes, blue and green make aquamarine.
A Blue's Clues lesson from a father.
Yes, who watches it?
24/7.
Wow.
We've really gotten into Blue's Clues lately. It's our son's favorite show, and our second son is actually liking it too.
I mean, he just likes it because there's a bunch of bright colors flashing.
It's great.
Yeah.
Both their favorite TV show.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of TV shows, we are really excited about the one we are about to cover live right now. Live for us.
Yeah, this is not live. You'll be watching this at some other point in time when this is just a history event. But nonetheless, we will be discussing about our Joan. who
Our
is
Joan.
Not our Joan, but
Well, she's ours when we watch her every week.
yes. But Joan from the Golden Bachelorette.
That's right. We have been getting really into the Golden Bachelorette and some other reality TV shows. So we are going to start reviewing some reality TV shows, maybe other TV shows, maybe movies if that's requested. So we are excited to start reviewing the Golden Bachelorette. We are starting on episode 5, but we are going to keep going and we're going to review other seasons too. And we're super excited about it.
Yeah, we were going to try to start when it came out, but we got hit with some unprecedented acclimate weather events.
Dun, dun,
so
dun. Let's tell them what happened.
we just lost our power for a week.
A week with no power due to the hurricane.
But we're here now.
We're
Very
recovered. Very delayed, but we're still here. And the show was so important to us that we are still going for it, even though we're a little over midway at this point. So
Yes, we are starting on episode 5.
we are. We have had a lot going on in our lives recently too. We have 2 children, but we're getting in a routine of things now, and we're excited to make this part of our weekly routine.
Yes, we are.
And do you think that you would ever want to watch Love is Blind? Maybe the next season will get you in on it.
Yeah, I don't know about that much.
Why? Tell us your thoughts of it so far from everything I've told you.
This one's already I'm being held against my will doing this.
Just hearing recaps of it.
I'm blinking twice right now, which means help.
No, it means he loves it, and we're definitely going to review this in the future. But what do you think of this season so far from what you've heard?
Of Golden Bachelorette?
No, of
Love is Blind thing. I mean, I don't know. They all sound insane. A lot of people with screw looses in their brains, and they need some help. So,
if you'd like us to review that, let us know. We would love to. I think it'd be really interesting to hear your perspective on things.
yeah.
For sure. But
Can put me in a straitjacket while we watch it.
no, you would willingly watch those.
Yeah.
But every week we have been infatuated with Joan's journey to find love.
Well, I'm just saying the whole Bachelor idea thing is very strange to me. I mean, I never even really followed any of this until crossing paths with you. So
Aren't you lucky? That we
Yeah.
know.
So I don't know. I've never really followed these things. The concept has always been very strange to me, and now I'm
Hooked.
becoming.
Just admit it. You're hooked.
It's been sliding, but it's I don't know. Nonetheless, we're here. It's interesting. I'll provide some commentary on it. And
Every week he's on the edge of his seat watching this show with me. No, we have a lot of fun watching it. And I will say the concept is a weird concept. You're dating 20 something people. Who goes on dates with 20 something people? That's odd.
yeah,
It puts you in a very weird position as the main lead to do that.
right. Well, and yes, I mean, especially now that it's like what 30 plus seasons in now or something, that it's very. I think the idea of the love aspect has greatly subsided into more of the TV factor now. So
It's true. But the golden seasons have been pretty beautiful to witness. And I will say there's a huge difference between the men in this season versus the men in a regular Bachelorette season.
well, I mean, yes, and I will say, one, I would hope so. I mean, going into this knowing that I was going to be observing this, observing this, I had very high hopes for the older men because the other two shows, the young women and young men on the shows, are quite.
They're immature.
Yeah, there's just
Drama.
quite a sad level that I think is being represented in society today. But it's very refreshing to see these men on this
Yes.
show. I think the way they're almost, I think a lot of them are really enjoying each other. They actually genuinely care about each other. They're actually forming friendships, and a lot of it is not just purely about the competition of the woman. Because, I think all of them look like they're quite in successful careers, and they are a lot more level-headed, and I think going into this understand that there's more to it than just trying to win the heart of Joan. But
It's true. I think a lot of them they've formed great bonds as friends and brothers of the house together. And I think that's pretty neat to see the camaraderie with everybody.
well, and it's very refreshing. And
Wait. First, let's just say that we are diving into our first segment called What We Love About This Season So Far.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When I first learned about The Bachelor years and years ago, like I said, I thought it was insane. But I always imagined that it could be cordial, or I don't know. The drama that is in the other ones is just, I just can't handle it. But
Although we can't wait to review an upcoming season of it.
yeah,
It does make for entertainment, but it is a little ridiculous.
yeah, because I mean, people's real lives at stake for drama for people to consume on television is, it's a strange idea for me. I don't know. Well, not I can't, but anyway, I just like how they're very understanding of each other, and there's not this drama. Going into this, I was kind of interested to see how they're even going to film this, because the men, the whole thing is drama, right? They have to have, especially being these many seasons into this. Yes, the Golden is new, but it's just older people doing it. So it's still the same concept. They have to try to constantly sit here and do something new after 30 seasons to keep it exciting and fresh.
But we're starting to see, like, they will try to highlight things as much as possible to make it look like there's like even an ounce of drama, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this episode.
Well, that's what the little bit that happens is like magnified because they
don't
have
have
to,
anything.
because they really have nothing. Which I think is great.
Well,
But
everybody gets along with each other and they're respectful of each other. And not only that, they're all cheering for each other. Like they're genuinely happy when someone gets a date or when someone expresses their feelings about something. They're like cheering the other brother on and all of that.
yeah.
And never really talking trash about their brethren.
Yeah, no, I mean, they are kind of treat each other like a brotherhood, and that's nice to see.
So that was our first thing that we really like about this season so far. Another thing I like about this season was that we got a really great song from Captain Kim.
He's only in our hearts now. As he's,
Captain Kim has now sailed away from the
oh,
show.
yeah, duty called, and the captain's been sent back out to the seven seas to sail to never find love again. But
Never find love again. Not with Joan, but we're very hopeful for his future.
But yes, he had a nice little military tune there too.
Let's sing it.
Yes, let's sing it.
We are the Mansion Men, the Golden Season Mansion Men. We're here to win the heart of Joan. It's really catchy. I love this song.
I'm pretty sure it's a already existing Navy tune, or it's a very it's kind of like the
with customized lyrics.
Yes, yeah. The tune is very much, it's like the I don't know what I've been told. I don't know what I've been told.
So Captain Kim wrote this song and he was really excited about it. And his vision for this song was for all of the men to join him and sing this song together. But this was the first piece of drama that happened. And it wasn't really drama because it was very nicely said that the men felt like it was his song to sing and not theirs. But they really just didn't want to sing it.
Yeah, which I mean, I understand, because why are they going to help partake in something that he wrote?
I don't know, to be supportive of someone who's
yeah.
really excited to involve them in a project.
I mean, yeah, I think it would have been nice to have them all do it, but
Well, I was really sad that he got turned away. And then they cut to Guy, who joined him, which was the nicest thing that Guy has ever done, was to pick up this song and join his brother and sing for Joan. And he did it once live, and then he also did it when Captain Kim got eliminated, came back again and sang it for the cameras, which was really nice. That was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. But yeah, I mean, it goes to show there it was more than just a competition for them.
Something I thought was funny was when I think it was Charles and Gary, they went to the store to try to look for sleeping items to help with like all the snoring and the people who can't sleep at night. I think they went like on a hunt for melatonin and earplugs and things like that. So that was fun.
Yeah, well, I think as Pascal had mentioned that he was having struggles to fall asleep due to all the loud noises from all the other people. But then even a lot of them were saying they were having struggles to, well, yeah, I guess you just had into that, but the struggles going into sleep, and I guess showing some of the signs of problems of falling asleep at an older age.
With a big group of men.
Yes.
Something else I have on this list is the crazy Chippendales performance with all the men.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
I liked how they were all like really hesitant at first, and then they said, well, it's to raise money for cancer, and then everybody was really on board after that, which was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least I guess it was for
a good cause.
Nice cause, but I don't know. It could have been a different event that they could have done for.
But that wouldn't have been as entertaining.
Yeah.
What did you think of Gary ripping his shirt open?
It's a little, a little strange.
He has confidence. That was
I guess. I don't
people
know.
ventured out of their comfort zone for that one.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the song choice? It was like Lady Gaga. Love Game.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I was not a fan of this part of
Why?
the episode. It was straight. I mean, I would never do. I mean, if I was on that competition and someone had me do that, I'd have to say I'm sorry.
You would not. You wouldn't participate at
I have to
all.
walk home. Yes.
Why? Tell us why.
Because I would not like to participate in something. of
Why?
that
I'm not
accord.
hearing why.
Because it doesn't. Why would I want to do that?
To show your confidence, to raise money for cancer. For a good cause, you would walk away. You'd get the whole crowd like really against you.
I'll raise money for cancer some other way. I'll go wash cars. I'll go clean people's houses.
So something really special that happened was when Gary talked to Joan about her mother not doing well. And Gary said, I will keep her in my prayers and in my thoughts, which was nice. But not only did he keep her in his prayers, he wrote out a customized prayer for Joan's mom and framed it and gave it to Joan, which was really touching.
Yeah, I thought this was really nice. And that was a very nice gesture. It was sad he got eliminated that night.
He got eliminated right after he did that. That was the saddest thing.
Yeah,
He
but
personalized that. He asked her, what's your mother's name? And he's like, this prayer's for Mary. And it was all special and
yeah, it was very touching.
very touching.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Gary. He was one of the good ones.
But sadly, his end
He's
came.
been axed.
I really enjoyed the kickball game with Quaker Oats being like the sponsor of the event, like a very bold Quaker Oats. They kept zooming into the oats. And was that trying to say something about old people liking to eat oats?
I figured that was just a sponsorship deal that ABC had to promote. What they're gonna tie in. Yeah, old people love olds, so let's just do some free advertising for Quaker.
Not free. Definitely not free.
I mean, well, sure. I mean, yeah, they should be. They should have been advertising for arthritis medication, or
You can't eat that and have fun with it. Did you like the big bowls of oats that everybody had to pose with? Or Jesse did, I think, and Joan, and they had to eat spoonfuls
oh, when
of
they
it?
were watching the game, they had
Yeah.
had the Bulls by their side. Yes, yeah. I mean, they have to.
It's a pretty cool sponsor. I like oats.
I mean, give me steel cut oats, which are apparently very
Hard to find.
yes, they're not nearly as in good quantity as rolled oats are.
So what did you think about Gary from season 1 coming to visit Joan to give his advice?
I thought it was ridiculous
Why?
because his relationship fell apart like a month, not even, after their big wedding or whatever.
Very sad. Due to locational differences, which you should know that coming into the show.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess at least it's the first one, but yeah, we'll have to talk about this later because I think this is a big issue with Joan's contesters or Joan's suitors.
It's very true. And family is very important, especially as you get older. It's really important to be close by to family. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, these people actually do care about family. I guess that's their first part is actually having the care, but yes, they all seem to be family people.
so who
and-
wants to move across the country? I think I told you that they should probably make it like, hey, everybody in this location should be on this show to get a better outcome after what happened to Gary and Teresa.
Yeah, I would agree with that because if you're on one side of the country and someone's on the other side, I don't understand how that would actually work. I mean, to try to uproot someone's life to switch over to that side or the other side would be quite daunting.
Yeah.
And I mean, these shows are like what? They're like 3 weeks in time, 3 or 4 weeks of time. So, you know this person for a month, and then you're gonna completely change your whole lifestyle after someone you've known for a month.
Move across the country for me.
Yeah, I mean that's
Move away from your children and grandchildren for me.
yeah, I mean that's ludicrous.
And your mother, Joan, for me.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, just as a little foresight, I don't see how any of these are going to work out.
the last thing I want to cover is Charles L. just being a delightful person in general. But he had a traumatic event in his wife passing away. And for years, he didn't know why she had blood in her mouth. And he finally got the answer that he needed from Guy, our emergency room physician.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting he never had the answer to that question, but it is quite climatic for him to be able to have that closure and understanding of what
Thank
actually
goodness.
happened. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that was kind of a touching moment.
Yeah, he was a really sweet guy. It was sad to see him go too. A lot of great people left, but let's go into this episode. Episode 5,
Yes. The week before hometowns.
the week before the big hometown visits happen. So this episode opens up showing a future conversation with Mark. And this is where Joan goes to Mark and says, "Hey, Mark, can I talk to you?" And the boys are like, "Oh." And that's how the episode opens
They're
up.
not like, ooh. They just say, oh, I wonder what that's all about.
They're like, "Oh."
Yeah, no.
The boys.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, so when we get into the actual episode, we have Pascal and he's in his underwear and he's steaming his own outfits because everybody that did his errands has gone.
Yes, he's doing his own chores now.
Laundry.
Yes.
He says that he has the room to himself and he really misses his friends, which is nice.
It is, because at this point there's 7 of them left, so out of 25. So yeah, so I mean the house is a lot quieter as all the brethren are slowly being removed from their house. In the words of Les Mis, their empty chairs are at empty tables now.
Wow, that's sad. Especially considering how close everybody got.
Yeah, it's like fallen comrades.
So we see commentary from Chalk, and he says he wants Joan and he wants the other guys to go home. So this is when we see Chalk start to make his claim on Joan. And this is when they're also trying to start stirring a little bit of drama into the episode.
Yeah, but I mean, you see people like Pascal, who is not very gung-ho with it. I mean, but he's not out of it. I mean,
I know, but don't you think that might lead to his demise later?
I don't know. It may not.
So what's your opinion? Do you like that Chalk is being bold about this? And saying, I'm here for Joan. I don't care about the other guys. And then clearly when they're on the group date, which we'll talk about later, he makes a great effort to be the one that's next to her.
I mean, I think I relate more towards Pascal's type of setting versus Chalk's setting. So,
Are you team Chalk?
no.
Oh, not at all?
No.
Wow.
I mean, sure, I think they have a pretty strong connection, but I don't think it's him.
Wait, we'll get to predictions at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
We also see Keith, and then there's a flashback to last episode when he was stuttering over his words and he had a very awkward interaction with Joan. And he says he looks forward to his time with her coming up because he was so awkward before. He couldn't get it together.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets the one-on-one with Joan and
Our first one-on-one date. Keith.
well, of this episode.
Of
yeah.
this episode.
And I believe it's his first his first one to have the one-on-one.
So Joan meets with Trista, the first Bachelorette, who is still married to the winner of her season. And Trista gives Joan some advice, and she says that Joan should be more vulnerable because that's the thing that she wishes that she did back in her day, was just tell the person she loves him, and just open up. She wished she opened up a little bit more on her season. So that's good advice for Joan because she's been a little closed off so far.
Yeah, right. I mean, she mentioned she likes to be a caretaker and listen to all their stuff, but not open up so much about her stuff.
So I feel like Joan's biggest struggle has been just giving her entire self to the process, and she's still dealing with the death of her husband a great deal as well in between everything.
Yeah.
Even though he passed away, he said he wants her to be happy and find love again. She still feels guilty to this day. So that's sad.
Yeah.
And we also learned that there's going to be no date roses from Joan this week.
Well, yeah, because she doesn't want to operate off of the emotion of the high of the date if it went well. So,
which I think is great.
Yeah.
So Joan and Keith, one-on-one.
Yeah, they take a helicopter ride.
Woohoo, helicopter. And who do they see from the helicopter?
Yeah, they intentionally fly over the mansion.
Intentionally.
'Cause
They
they're like,
posed all the men in the pool to wave up to them. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like.
Yeah, I'm sure they had I'm sure there was more than one helicopter flying over. And then they just happened to be like, oh, that must be them. I'm sure the producers were like, hey, there's helicopters flying over. That's
Wave now, wave now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
A little staged.
yeah. Maybe it wasn't, but I don't know. I would lean towards it was. But
And every single man was in the pool at the same time at that exact moment.
yeah, well, I do agree or could think that'd be possible. I mean, they don't have much else to do. I would just be
Yeah, but all in the pool at the exact same time.
Yeah.
One's not on the grill. One's not laying out. They're all in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Great shot, though. Really great shot. So Keith and Joan go to a winery, and we learn that the owners of the winery have been married for 32 years, which just happens to match the exact number of years that Joan and her husband were together for. Was this staged? Did they find owners of a winery?
No, but I think they could have asked the owners or something that.
And they're like, oh my gosh, you guys have been married for 32 years. What a coincidence. Please say it. Say it on the show. Say it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this almost sabotaged Keith's. I mean, I really wasn't crazy about Keith anyway, but I do think it kind of sabotaged his date because then that was something that was now looming in the back of her
Yeah.
mind
Then that's all she could think about.
the entire time. It
Mhm.
definitely, I think,
Took over.
put cold water to the fire on things, and it did really kind of simmer. So I think this was kind of a
Bad
jerk
move.
move by them having them on. I don't know. Maybe they're the only owners of the vineyard, and
No, I think they
wanted to have
purposely-
them, but
Purposely.
I find
had
it a little
that.
strange that that just happened to.
And it threw Joan into a tailspin. We didn't give Keith a fair chance, and he went sayonara after this.
I mean, if he was great. He could have somehow flipped it around to be able to work it to his favor, but he wasn't that good with it to begin with. So.
I don't think they were a good match at all. They didn't have a
No.
lot in common. It was like awkward interactions and
Yeah, girl dad needed to go.
girl dad. Hashtag girl dad.
Yeah.
So,
one guy was unemployed out of the whole crew.
or was he, or did he just lead with that title?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would. I guess that's
It did say girl dad, and
it's a
everybody else
a
had
bold title to
a job
go by
title.
if you had an occupation, but I don't know, maybe.
So Keith says that it's hard to make plans for the future with somebody because he's in fear that they won't come true, which is what happened with his ex-wife. And that's why he's been fearful to open up to Joan.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I mean, this is excuse 101 out of the book.
I mean, what happened with his wife was a pretty long time ago at this point. But
yes, but
it
the whole
is very sad what happened too.
Yes, no, for sure. I mean, the situation of it is not good, but the whole can't go in or lean in, or I'm worried about I gotta put up my shell and all this
True.
stuff.
Like, you should be ready to go if you're on the show. Like, okay, I'm open, I'm here, let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a nickel every time someone told me that, I'd be in my own mansion at that point.
We learned that his ex-wife is an addict, and he had to take himself out of that situation and his daughters. And they haven't talked to her in years.
I mean, he's got a past, he's got a story, and it's nice that he's at least kind of more opening up to her about it and trying to show, because he mentioned he in the beginning kind of showed his fun side, and now he wants to kind of show his soft opening side. So
A little too late, Keith.
that's what he's trying to do. But yeah, well, I think the combination of the flat date last time and then this wasn't a sparks flying, so it doesn't seem to go well. I don't know. It seemed to go fine, but just compared to the statuses of the other men, it does not add up to being of worthy competition. So.
I agree with that. Sparks just weren't there. So back at the mansion, we see Mark, and he's getting emotional, and he starts crying with the men, and he starts talking about his ex-wife, Denise. And he tells Pascal and Jordan that he and his wife had a hummingbird feeder, and his wife would hold out her hand and a hummingbird would land in her hand. She was modern day Snow White. Is that the character that has the animals following her?
Oh, I don't know Disney.
Actually, don't know. Anyway.
I mean, there's a character on MHA that it can control animals. That is
What's MHA?
My Hero Academia.
Wow.
But
Okay, all of our anime fans out there, if you watch MHA, give it a shout out.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we could do a podcast about that. So he's opening up to the men, and he's telling this hummingbird story, but he tells them that he saw a hummingbird outside of the mansion. And of course, this reminded him of his wife, and he's emotional about that. And he thought it was a sign from her saying that he's ready to open his heart and enter this experience now.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned, he sees that that's kind of the confidence for him, but similar to Mark Savale, he, I think, discovers this a little too late in the game.
What's up with all these late discoveries? It's not helpful.
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's nice that they had the discoveries, but to Joan, she already has her mind made up at this point.
Well, this is the other thing I don't like about this show is that like I said, you know, this is like a 2 or 3 week show, and then you're supposed to just like open up your life to this person and like instantly. And I
Well,
mean,
I guess you're right. It makes sense. It would take some people longer than others to be able to do that. But at that point, you're done for.
well,
Almost.
yeah, exactly. But that's
So
you're like rushing into these things where it may not even feel totally genuine to have to say it. It's more like I've got to say it to stay in this thing, or
okay, I think I'm ready now. Here I go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate them at least not giving into the hurriedness of having to spill it. They're willing to try to do it on their own time.
Right.
But yeah, you can't do that in this game if you're trying to win it, because you just won't make it, because you've got the other people who will just. So, because I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, on the first date, you're just opening up about everything. I mean, just your whole life story in one date. I mean, that's just, I don't know.
Well, it seemed like Mark didn't talk about anything until now. It's like he just woke up.
Well, but also his defense, he hasn't even had a one-on-one yet. This is his first one-on-one.
No, he hasn't.
He's always had a group date. So I think that's another issue, is that I guess you're supposed to win the group date thing, or the group competition, so that you get the one-on-one.
Make your presence known. Even if you're not getting the one-on-ones, like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you'd be fun in the group dates, and then you open up and be soft in the one-on-one, and that's the whole game plan. That's
Well, do you think part of this was Mark thought he had this in the bag because of Kelsey and Joey and everything? I think there's so much pressure on him.
I think with his personality, no. He doesn't seem like, I mean...
He does seem genuine. He seems very genuine, but the show has just built him up so much that it's like you think he could never go home no matter what.
Yeah, they did a little too much with that. That was kind of annoying.
Nothing on him. I think he's great. Like, a great person, but it's just...
Yeah, but even though they did all that, I think it didn't really help, because, I mean, his personality just isn't like that. And I think
it didn't match up.
It was very genuine, and that it was not... I don't know. I don't think he walked into that having that thought in the back of his head going into it. I mean, he clearly was still upset with... he's still not completely over, the death of his wife. So
yeah,
he's still kind of contemplating that. So I don't think, was he probably even really ready to jump into this? They maybe
not.
Kelsey kind of forced him into this a little bit. So,
which leads me to believe, I think they're going to try to force him into being the next Golden Bachelor. And I think someone maybe like Jonathan might be a great pick for that. But will they even give him a chance, because they have so much built on Mark?
I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily has that in the bag. I mean, I would think. Not. I mean, all of them are. I mean, they're all seem quite genuine. So
anyway, he's opening up to the men, and Pascal and Jordan are very supportive. They're very glad for him. They're intently listening, and I just thought here that the friendship between the three of them was really nice to see in this scene too. So now we know it's time for the group date, and it's bowling time. And the people on this group date, we have Guy, Jordan, Pascal, and Chalk, and Mark gets the solo date. Woo! Yay, Mark. His time is finally here. So yeah, bowling date plus solo date is what we find out. And first, we learn that Joan must be pretty good at bowling, because when all the men walk in, she just scored a strike.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to see how many times they filmed that before that actually happened. They're just like constantly walking in and out. It's like, walk in, walk out, walk in, walk out.
Until that magical strike was on TV.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was the first time, but
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, unless she's secretly up in the PBA or something. But
well, Pascal says he's never bowled before. He doesn't really do that sport. And then on his first try, he knocks down 8 pins, which is pretty good. And then we see Jordan, Jonathan, and Chalk all get strikes. I don't know if they were just like randomly filming that or if it was all on their first time or what.
Well, I'm sure that was
Hopefully
just when
it was
they
just
happened to
yeah.
get it.
So then this is where things take a turn. Chalk.
Yeah, the most drama that this has ever produced, which I'm thankful for. Don't get me wrong, but yes, there is, I guess. But they have to blow this up because it's just the most subtle thing. It just has to be like blown up 1,000 times because it's just
Right. It's our only piece of
everything else
drama we
has been-
have.
Yeah.
So Chalk is getting really close to Joan, and the guys, particularly Guy, is jealous over this. And basically, it was just Chalk putting his arm around Joan and sitting close to her while they waited for other people to bowl.
Yeah, but his arm wasn't even around her. His arm was just on the couch at the bowling alley. It wasn't even touching her shoulder or anything. And I don't know, in my opinion, her body expression was very standoffish. I don't think she was totally great with it. I don't know, maybe. Because it was not, there's like a talking head with Jonathan where he's like, oh, she's all snuggled up with him or something. But it was like,
She had her legs pulled in.
yeah, in the opposite direction of.
She was facing watching people bowling, and he was behind her.
Yeah. I don't know, but still.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like cradling her. I think that would have been absolutely ridiculous if he had like both his arms and he was like.
Yeah, but
and,
she
like,
was
a
still like
holder.
away. I don't know.
Well,
Just from what I saw.
maybe
from the
she was
body
trying not to show
expression.
too much
Oh, that's what
affection
I think.
with all the guys staring at her at the same time. That's such an uncomfortable situation. It's like one guy, but then the rest of your dates are all in a circle watching you guys together.
Well,
That's
yeah,
really weird.
I think she was kind of uncomfortable in that position.
Was she uncomfortable, or was she just trying to not be overly affectionate in front of the other men out of respect?
Well, I think she was uncomfortable, but I think there was also.
I don't think she. What do you mean she's uncomfortable? She doesn't like Chalk? That's what you
she
mean?
does, but
I think
not
she
in that
really
setting.
likes Chalk.
I think in that set. Well, yes. Generally, yes, I think so, but I don't know. In that setting, I think because of the group setting.
Yeah, I think it was because it was in front of her. But she didn't look like inching away from him or anything. She didn't look like she was trying to get up.
No.
And when she got up, she came right back into that position with him.
Well, she was. That's just where she was. But yeah.
She
And
was
then he would,
still
like,
with
prey-
her
He would
back.
like prey on her.
Oh,
when he
come
was-
on.
when
She
he
was
was
still with
done
her
bowling.
back, like, next to him. She could have done that very differently, like sit forward and not lean back. She could have done it differently if she was so trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like he was just, like, marking his territory over Joan. And he starts asking her some questions like, what side of the bed do you like to sleep on? More intimate questions. And then Jonathan has an interview where he says it was very in your face.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, because, at the end of the day, he's honed in on this. He's trying to take it, win her home. And so, yeah, he's kind of taking the gloves off.
Locked
and
in.
Not really being as friendly anymore.
locked in on Joan.
Yeah.
So Guy then is bold enough and he tells Chalk to give some time to the other men, which Chalk doesn't really respond.
Right, yeah. Yeah, Guy tries to make a... Which I think... I don't know if Joan heard that or not, but I do think that was kind of advantageous to him, if she did hear that. Because I think there was kind of a sign of protection with that, so... Or defensive.
Well, I have to say,
backing
at
up.
least they're getting into it for Joan. Not getting into it, but at least like he said something.
Yeah.
And then there's one like little short scene where Guy is sitting next to her. But then they cut away from that.
Well,
really
because
fast.
he intervened. He
Yeah,
he
right.
took the chance when Chalk was bowling that he would...
Well, Chalk had to
sit
know
next
this was
to
going to
her.
happen. He has to go bowl, so obviously someone's going to come try to
Yeah.
sit next to her. But Chalk says he's crazy about her and he wants to be with her at every moment. And so, yeah, Chalk's really into her. And he's making that well known now. And then we go into a scene where Jonathan is showing pictures to Joan, which describes some of these pictures that he's showing to Joan.
Yeah, the weird, like, driver's license of her
He goes,
mother. And
here's my mother. Here's multiple driver's license copies of my mother's, which is interesting.
yeah.
But he's showing her some really sweet pictures, like of his kids and different things like that. Old pictures of himself, which is really nice. And then we see a quick scene of Pascal, and he says he wants Joan to meet his children at hometowns. And then Jordan says the same thing. And then there's a quick scene with Guy where he says that he is actually falling for Joan. And this is the first time he's felt that way since his marriage has ended.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's opening up, and that's what she wants to start seeing, and he played his cards well, and I mean, he had a good previous one-on-one date, so yeah, I mean, he's
where the emergency room physician didn't know how to zest a lemon.
yeah, that's a little concerning.
But at least they got close during that time. And then it's Chalk's time to spend with Joan, and then the guys are talking about Chalk while he's with Joan playing skee ball.
Yeah, Jordan, I think, made a comment about having to, I'm not going to have to sit between you guys or something on the way back, am I? You're not going to get into a brawl about it. So.
Yeah, and I think Pascal makes a comment like he just couldn't have enough of Joan.
Oh, I didn't think he said anything.
No, yeah, I think he made like a quick little comment.
Oh.
They got like each of the guys saying something about that, which was interesting.
So, I mean, that was pretty much the end of the...
Yeah, besides their conversation between Joan and Chalk, they say that they both want partners to go home to each night, because right now Joan goes out with her friends and then she comes home and there's nobody there. And Chalk feels the same way, so they bond together on that. And then there's a little interview with Chalk where he says, I'm pretty confident after my time with Joan that I'm making it to hometown.
Yeah. I mean, I think he knows he's probably got one of the top connections, so I think he's a little... Which, I mean, yeah, he does.
So next, we have Joan and Mark's one-on-one date. And all the men are excited for Mark to finally go on his date, especially Jordan and Pascal. And Pascal is like really complimentary of Mark. He goes, you just have a beautiful smile. He's just saying like all these really nice things, which we learn later that they were best friends. And all the guys just being so nice again, because Joan comes in to get Mark for the date, and someone says, look at that couple right there. Like they're all just like being joyous over it, which is kind of weird at the same time, because it's like, this is a woman you're fighting for, but you're complimenting on what a great couple they look like.
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe Jordan is someone, I don't know. Yeah, it was a little strange, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they know only one person's got to win at the end of this, and they had a 1 in 25 shot of this actually being them to start with.
True.
So I think I mean, they're not, I don't think they're going to be devastated if they don't win, but I mean, they are. I mean, they do care, but
they have to start figuring out who has the connections and who doesn't at this point, except for Mark, because he didn't get his time yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows Chalk's a top contender.
That's probably why they don't like him that much now. Or they like him, but...
Yeah, but he even kind of seemed less of the... He kind of even seemed less of the buddy to begin with. I mean, compared to...
Well, he's there on a mission.
Right, yes. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So Joan comes to pick Mark up in a red convertible, which she drives the both of them to their date. in.
Yeah, it's a red Porsche, which was the one that Pascal went on with her date when they went.
Was it the same
Vegas.
convertible?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
The budget. They're not gonna go rent a separate car to take on them.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So they go on their date and they go on a boat. And please
On a boat.
cue the awkward silences.
Right. Well, it was a yacht to begin with.
On a boat.
Yes, a
Okay.
yacht which had a little boat on it.
Wow.
Well, probably because it was the lifeboat.
Okay, so they go on a yacht and they're sitting there and you can hear like silence and nothing happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
How much of this was editing and how much was
I think
such
a
an
lot
awkward
of it was
experience?
editing it. I mean, they really.
But the stuff they were even talking about wasn't that great. It was like, oh, are you going to drink some champagne? Yes, I will drink some champagne. Did you finish your champagne yet? No, I didn't finish it yet. I will have some more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's hard to tell. I mean, maybe it was. I don't think it was probably painted out as bad as they're making it in the editing, but yeah, maybe it wasn't naturally flowing as some of the other conversations she had. So
It was even more awkward than Keith's flub up conversation that he had.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be great to see the raw take there, but
Yeah.
it's up to their interpretation of them, of how they portray it. So nonetheless, so yeah, they're giving the hint or trying to allude that it is going terrible.
So thank goodness that they introduced some games for Joan and Mark to play, because it would have been absolutely horrible if they didn't. So they played a game of
I don't know if it would add, but yeah, I think it was a good.
their biggest highlight in conversation so far was, how much champagne have you had to drink? Oh no, I haven't had all my champagne yet. I'm about to take another sip. Things you don't even say out loud is what they were talking
Look, there's
about.
the open water.
Yeah.
We're about to be out
Yes.
there.
We're about to be there. That's their conversation. So
Yes.
never have I ever. And a big reveal from Mark, which I thought was really weird. So he goes, I've never woken up in the middle of the night to feed a baby.
Yeah, that was a.
Excuse me,
strange
as a
one.
father of multiple children, you never woke up to help feed the baby?
Yeah, I wish that was me.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this was kind of
Never.
a strange one. I mean, she said, I've never been to the Northern Lights, and then he just pulled out like a card that
I don't
was
help
like,
my wife with children.
Yeah, kind of really.
Never have I ever helped out with the children. What does he have, 5 kids or something?
Really, I don't think he had that many, but he like really shot his own foot there. And she was like, oh yeah, ha, 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 or something.
She's like, oh, thank God we're not having children together.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that's a red flag. You should not be admitting that.
Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, in his defense too, he was an Army veteran, so maybe he was deployed out on
Oh.
seas for a lot of.
Every
the
time his wife gave birth, he went away.
Well, I don't know about that, but
He was deployed every single time.
But yeah, maybe that was
Okay, maybe.
some of that.
And hopefully he helped hire help instead of making his wife do everything. So yeah, we don't know enough about that. You're right. But that's still kind of odd to make it a fun little game to say I never help out with my children.
Yeah.
So
But
what?
then they find, and then the next one leads into who feels comfortable saying "I love you" first.
And they both don't feel comfortable saying
which
this first.
I gotta say, this made me. This was a negative for him saying it to be second, because that.
He could have totally like just said, oh yes, I would love to say it. I'm ready to say it. But then he backed up and he was like, no, I want to be.
He should have done it right then and there.
He should have. Maybe he would have been
thrown
saved.
her off guard.
Maybe we would be seeing him next week in Hometowns if he did that.
Yeah, he could have been like, I really see myself falling for you.
By the way, I'm in love with you, Joan. I'm in love.
That's what the producers wanted to happen.
Yeah. They really wanted to see Kelsey and Joey again. They were probably really mad about this cut.
Yeah.
So he talks to Joan about how him and the men have really bonded in the mansion together and they all support each other. And then Joan says, well, that's nice for you guys, but I don't have anyone to talk to, which is really sad.
Yeah, but I don't.
Except all of them, I guess. But she's not hanging around them 24/7, I guess is what she
Yeah,
means.
but I wonder where she's at. I guess she's got her own hotel room somewhere else, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe she just goes back to a hotel, but I, I guess yeah, because I guess they're shooting this in California or something. So 'cause she lives in Maryland, so this
Oh,
literally
no.
is across.
She
the
does live in
world.
Maryland?
Yes.
And Chuck is in Kansas, so that's...
Well, yeah, they're all
All right, anyway, we'll get to that part,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, I guess maybe none of her friends are around. I don't know. Maybe she just goes back to a hotel and that's it. I don't know.
That is kind of sad. But we end this date with them having a meaningful conversation together, just relating to one another about the deaths of their spouses.
Yeah, he tells Joan about the hummingbird, and I do think seeing Joan's expression here, she really related to this, and I think this was almost like, man, I wish he had a little bit more to him because otherwise he'd be a perfect fit.
Like a front runner in this competition. Especially with Joan, didn't she say she felt her husband's presence?
Well, yeah,
With the hawk?
I was gonna get into that. Yeah, she thinks the hawk thing was
John coming to see her.
right. Yeah. So
on paper they would be a really good fit, but the chemistry...
yeah, well, I think too if they probably had a year's time, it would probably go great. Because like I said, and that's the other pressure too, right? I mean, normal dating, yeah, you occasionally I think have a date that is a little off. Doesn't necessarily, it's not fireworks every time you have a date. I mean, but in this world, you have to have a firework conversation or experience every single date, or otherwise you're on the chopping block. So I think it's a little.
I mean, I feel like most of the dates would be you'd feel a chemistry with somebody.
It has to be successful even more so than in the normal world, I think is the crazy part. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think they did have a deep connect or potential bonding of this experience or similar ideologies.
But it came too late.
Yeah.
So that's how they end their date. And the next day, Joan doesn't waste any time here. She visits the mansion house. She says she specifically has to speak to Mark, and it doesn't look too good. And Keith thinks it could be good, though. Keith goes, oh, no, yeah, maybe it's good. I knew it was bad from the moment she came in, but I think you and I differed on opinions here as well. I was like, oh, okay, she's coming to just end it because it was so terrible, the date they had before.
Yeah, I mean, I was originally thinking they were really playing out the date to make it look bad and make you think he was gonna go home, and I thought there's just gonna be some questions she had about like, are you based on your conversations we had, it seems like you're still kind of not over Denise yet, and not really full hearted to jump into this. Are you really into this or whatever, and just wanted some like quick validations or confirmations of
he's ready. He's here.
Yeah, of where he's at. So whether she would decide to proceed him through to the next round or not. But yeah, it ended up being what you thought, which was the axing him. So,
which I'm glad Joan went with her heart and she didn't drag him through an elimination ceremony too, but she just said that she didn't feel like Mark was absolutely ready in his journey for this, which that's also kind of odd too, because at points it seems like Joan isn't too ready, almost the same way. But I think she's moved on at this point. I don't know. What's your opinion on Joan being ready?
Yeah, well, I mean, she came out that one time and she mentioned that she really wasn't, I don't think, totally. But, I mean, since it's about her, I think she can make that call and still do
Mhm.
it, where they can't because they have the fear of going home. So,
Right.
but
Well, ultimately, I think it's because she didn't make a connection with him. She just felt like there was something missing from their relationship. She kept thinking about it, so she was just honest with him and
I mean,
felt
I
it was
think
best.
something would have happened if there had been more time. But yes, I mean, in relation to the other people, that yes, it was probably or it was lower on the list. Th- I don't know. I think because the whole hype about on Mark, that's why she did this thing of like silently letting him go. Because I really don't understand why she shouldn't. I couldn't have just not picked him during the ceremony.
Oh, why do you think she did it then?
Because the whole Mark was this whole hyped up MVP in the start of this whole thing.
Unfair advantage.
Because I,
But I bet you, don't you think the producers are so mad at her?
well, I don't think they're mad. Well, maybe yeah, they could be. But I think that's why he got this little special walkout first, just being eliminated.
I will
like,
say it was almost like kind of humiliating at a certain point too, because then after they have that conversation, Mark's really gracious about it, says he feels like he's a better person because of this experience, and thanks Joan, which was really nice to see. But then after he walks out, he goes back to the guys and they're all sitting there staring at him, and he has to tell everybody, hey, well, Joan just wasn't feeling it with me, guys, so I have to go home. And he had to like announce it himself in front of all of his friends.
Oh.
But
yeah, I do think that was quite. I mean, weird for him to have to be like, "Hey guys, going home now. See you later." That was so. Yeah, I really don't understand why she had to do that. I think doing it at the ceremony, there would have been no difference. I don't think.
yeah, I guess one way she's announcing it, the other way Mark had to make the announcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I guess Mark had his special moment to leave by himself, apart from the ceremony.
But I guess some of the, I guess because they really wanted to get his take probably on it, because they generally when they get eliminated, they only show like the the most shocking person that's eliminated. Because like, well,
We'll go into that.
yeah,
Yeah. So the guys are really sad about this, especially Pascal. We learned that Pascal was his best friend. He said, "That's my best friend."
yeah. I mean, that was quite sad to see. I mean,
They really
Jonathan
bonded.
cried. I think they all pretty much
Guy
kinda
had a
teared up.
tear rolling
Yeah,
down his
they were
face.
all like stunned by him.
Jonathan says he loved him, or he loves him.
Which I think
Loved.
he was just like the favorite of the house, I think. But
Yeah.
so yeah, they're all quite. Which, like I said, I think it's refreshing to see that because every other show, well, would have been like, yeah, woohoo, you're gone.
Thank goodness they're gone.
Easier chance to
Yeah.
win now.
So then we go into the rose ceremony, and the first rose goes to Pascal.
Yeah, which I think was quite interesting.
I thought that was really interesting because there wasn't like a main focus on him in this episode.
Yeah, but it shows you
Behind
how
the
real it
scenes.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the second one went to Chalk, which I thought he might get the first one, but he got the second one. And then Guy got the third rose, and then Jordan got the last rose. Which means Keith and Jonathan were eliminated. And in my opinion, Keith was predictable. Jonathan was really sad. I thought he could definitely make it to the top 4.
Yeah, I kind of figured he wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there was like this connection that they kind of showed that he had, but I was thinking that.
Why did you think he was going to be eliminated? Because you did predict that he
I don't know. I just didn't think that he would. I mean, the connection wasn't going to be strong enough to make it to hometown. It was there, but it just wasn't. I think it was more of just like a deep friendship versus something romantic. At least from her side. So,
but let's talk about.
Well, I also liked how the two people who had one-on-ones got eliminated.
Yeah.
Where in every other episode, it was they got the rose immediately.
But that's why she didn't want to give out roses, maybe because she knew she was going to eliminate them both, and it would be like humiliating for them not to receive the rose on their one-on-one date because everybody else previously has received it. That could be a reason why she didn't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I
Yeah.
guess you're just prolonging the elimination process.
Yeah.
So here, Joan says very quick goodbye to Keith in front of all the men. And then it seems like she cares very deeply for Jonathan and gives him a special goodbye and walks him out personally, opens his car door for him and sends him off, has a beautiful conversation with him.
Well, I think this is because, like I said, when they get to the end here, it's the most shocking person to see go.
I guess
They
Keith
have
wasn't
like
that
more
shocking.
of a one-on-one conversation. Yeah, which, well, I think
is kinda
everyone
weird.
knew Jonathan had a look to be a better.
But still, you both get eliminated at the same time and one person gets treated so differently than the other person. I mean, I
I
guess,
just think
yeah.
yeah, the connection level was different.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean, I think he had more of an emotional connection to Joan. I mean, Keith was like almost like a joke at some point because he was just like, yeah, I'm here for the fun. And there was like absolutely no like emotion
yeah,
going on until like the very, very end.
yeah.
But here's where I'm thinking like they could maybe lead Jonathan up to be the Golden Bachelor because there was an interview with him in the car and he said, maybe my journey is just beginning. So I thought maybe that quote can mean that maybe there's a shot.
No.
We'll see.
No, I mean that's just they've all said that. I feel like that's like it's just like a very
I don't think they've
common
all
thing to
said
say.
that, but
commonplace to them.
we'll see. Maybe Mark will get it. Maybe he will. Maybe somebody else. So next week we have hometown dates, and the quick preview shows us a couple of things, but I think some of the things that they're showing is meant to trick us.
Yeah, well, I hate these previews because I think they give so much away.
But there may be some trick shots in there.
Yeah, no, they do. I think
Chopped up
they try to-
conversations.
Yeah,
Quick. We see Guy says he's fallen in love with her in this preview. He says he would get down on one knee for Joan. Pascal is driving around in a convertible with Joan, a different convertible.
well, it's his car. It says,
Yeah.
it says Aston Martin,
Oh,
which is a nice ride.
very nice. And then there's some what I think are misleading moments of Chalk saying, "Is this real?" And then Joan is in the very last clip and she's saying, "I could leave here alone."
Yeah, which I think is just I don't know. I mean, they did the same thing with Gary.
Hook lines to get you to think that something can happen.
Yeah.
So we will see next week. We're excited to review next week's, but let's go into predictions. So what do you think is going to happen
Next week being tomorrow.
next week? Tomorrow when the episode comes out. This week, I mean.
Yeah. I think Pascal's going to win it all.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, because I think the connection they have is on the one-on-ones is quite deep. I'm kind of hinting to think that I don't know. They also had in the preview they said someone's father is not accepting of you or something of Joan, I think, and I think it's Chalk's. I don't know. I think something happens with Chalk that is gonna have
Makes it rocky.
yeah. And this was the other thing. So Pascal's in Chicago, Jordan's in Chicago. Chalk is in Kansas.
Chalk.
And Guy's in Nevada.
Oh my gosh.
So especially with the whole location thing, Chicago's obviously the closest, but to Maryland, so
Which is still not even that close.
Still, yeah, but it's the closest side of the who's left. But anyway, I don't know.
So who's in Chicago?
Pascal and Jordan.
Oh.
So, but anyway, I don't know. I think Pascal is. I think he's kind of the hidden gem with this whole thing.
Yeah, I think what started as just like the series bringing on just like a different character into the mix. I don't know if he was like a serious contender in the producers' eyes when they brought him onto this show. I think they added him in because he has such a big personality and could really be popular on the show. But then he turned out to be such a beautiful person, and I do think he has a good chance of winning. But it's like, how can you take Chalk out of the front running spot, though? Because I feel like he could still win. My prediction is still with Chalk, I think.
I think there's too much on him.
I think they're trying to make you think that all these things behind the scenes could be happening with Chalk, and oh no, what's going to happen? And because they need to stir up something because it's getting way too predictable that he's going to win at this point.
Yeah.
I think first and second will be Chalk and Pascal. Either way, I don't know. Okay, so your first is Pascal. I'm going to say Chalk. Who's your second right now?
I guess I'd probably say Chalk.
Okay. Third place, who would you put?
Probably Jordan.
I was going to say Guy and then Jordan.
Yeah.
So we differ a little bit, but our
I
first
don't
and seconds
know.
and third and fourth.
I mean, I guess from what we've seen,
there.
Guy may have more after that group date, I guess.
I think he could maybe push himself up into second place, but right now he's on third for me.
Yeah, I guess Jordan would be more so. Only because I guess that one thing that he said in the bowling alley thing really struck a chord with Joan, so I think that helped in his favor. So yeah, I would probably say
Jordan's
third.
Leaving maybe next week.
Yeah, unless something really crazy happens, I think I would say probably his connection is the lowest out of the four. So
yeah,
but we'll see.
We'll see. Those are our predictions for first, second, third, and fourth. But we are excited to see what happens in these hometown visits, and we can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be a battle of the
Final Four
of the houses.
Yeah,
the Fantastic Four.
Well, thank you so much for joining us reviewing this episode of The Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah, let us know what you think of it and if we should continue on with it.
Well, we definitely will, and we are excited to do it. We can't wait to review more of this season and more of other seasons too. Super excited.
Yeah, so be ready because we're doing it no matter what.
No matter what, we love it. We want to hear your feedback too, but we will see you next time.
We will. Ciao.
Bye.